Spring is for blossoming, and planting.
Right.
Summer is for de-weeding, and you have your first harvest, and then the fall is the second harvest. And each time you adjust. And so just imagine if you gave people permission to evolve like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're making the adjustment. I
Right.
say you go first.
Right.
Yeah.
You go first. So try to fight winter.
Yeah.
Try to pray about it and ask God to stop winter.
Right.
And then say, I'm not gonna make an adjustment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so
I'm
good.
just keeping on my string bikini,
Yeah.
and I'm going to the beach.
Yep.
You can go,
Yep.
but that winter
It's still
hawk
gonna
is
be
gonna beat
cold.
your behind. You're gonna be like, oh man, I don't know what's happening to me because you haven't reset.
Right.
I rebuke the devil.
Yeah.
So we.
That is so good. Oh my
Nature
God.
teaches us
Yeah.
to adjust and to evolve. And so we should do that. We should do that in our business. We should do
Yeah.
that with our relationships. They're seasonal. I have BFFs. One of my friends had a lot to say. Oh, I'm still going to be hanging out with you and blah, 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 blah. And she recently became a grandmother. And I'm not going to be babysitting and all of that stuff. I'm still going to be traveling. I haven't heard from her. Because she's in love with this new
You're
baby.
right, of course.
So what I said to her before all of this, I give you permission. You don't have to call me. I want you to fall in love with this toothless guy. Hang out with this toothless guy. Now imagine I got an attitude
Yeah.
because her season is shifting.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, imagine if, with us, when we first got married, all of my friends, my family, I wasn't available on demand. Then anybody could stay at my house. Anybody, anytime. I had to make that adjustment to be able to say, hey, you can't be in and out of my house. Why? Because I'm a newlywed.
Right.
And now, I don't want all the bunch of women running around in my house.
Yeah.
It's not that I was second guessing you, but because we were building our relationship,
Yeah.
it would be a disservice to us
Right.
Right.
to continue my singlehood. Anybody could come anytime and they could sleep.
Right.
Because I lived in a huge house. So I had bedroom galore. I had space galore. So they could get lost in my house. So now I had to make that adjustment. How I responded to people. And Dad and I, we were talking one time, and I said the girls could come anytime they want. They don't have to call. They could bring their bags, and they could stay as long as they want. That was me.
Right.
They could stay as long as they want. And he was looking like, and he's real cool. He said, but babe, you have to remember you're not single now. And I know that, I know I'm not single. And, but this is just family. But I had to make the adjustment
Adjustments to his
because I was
temperature.
still talking like a single woman. That was a paradigm,
Yep.
But then, I had to make the paradigm, extended family, understanding, oh, that's your extended family. What is an extended family? Individuals that have left
Yeah.
an immediate family to start a family of their own.
Right.
So now they have rules and roles, including single parent.
Right.
So that's your family. This is my family. So I had to make that adjustment. And there was, I always had a live-in. So I had to make that adjustment because
Yeah.
there was someone cooking for me, cleaning for me. So I always had a live-in. And now I had to make the adjustment.
What did that
you
look
know.
like?
So, I had people packing, people that had keys to my house. They can go in and out of the house.
And then once you got
They
married.
could go in any room they wanted, any space of the house, because they were packing, they were cleaning, they were cooking. You had access to everything. And then I had to mentally make the adjustment. Hold on 1 minute. There's only two of us in the house, and I can't have people in and out. And now they could call, because usually whoever had the key could just come in, family, the housekeeper, just open up the door and walk in and do what they had to do. Now, I had to make that adjustment because it was not just about me, it was about us. So with singlehood, what I did in my single life, I had to stop doing it. Now we're a couple, you want to do more couple things. And then I'm Miss Workaholic. So I have seasons where I have such high demand. But I have a husband that accommodates that.
Yeah.
Thank
you, Lord, for
And
those
family still
seasons.
comes by. Family still
And
comes over,
yeah,
periodically. Yeah.
yeah, but before they all had keys.
Yeah.
You understand? So
And if I
now I'm
lived in
building.
Atlanta, I'll have some keys.
Yeah,
too.
I'm big. Yeah, if you keep saying that I'm 21, I'll give you 2 sets of keys, and I'll give you your own garage. But if you don't, yeah. So I think growing now in playing this role, and it is a role that I choose to play. So if you end up, some people end up divorced and their whole life breaks down, and I have to say, hold on 1 minute, that's only 1/11th, 1/12th of your life. You got this other 11 that you could grow and you could mature and you could explore, and this is only one aspect of an incredible life that you can have.
Yeah.
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 That's
I don't
amazing.
know if I'm answering
You
your
are. You just
question.
answered it
it's good.
perfectly.
I feel like it's circuitous.
No, it's
No.
that it's the temperature thing for me.
It's good because the angle that we're coming from is not simply married, but married later in life. See, we
Yeah.
basically came mature, but still getting to know each other. We had even had more maturing to do towards each other.
And it's the adjustment too. I'm sure you had a lot of adjustments to make with me because, again, you had a successful marriage for 38 years and you grew. You
Yeah,
grew
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with
And
with moms. He
Yeah.
grew. They grew together. They matured together.
Yeah.
They refined themselves together. But then, after she passed, and then we became, you met me, and then we married.
I pursued
I'm
you.
sure there was major adjustments for you because
Yeah.
now you had the polar opposite. She was a domestic, engineer, and now you have somebody that's,
But
making things
but
happen. I had my own business.
yeah, but you know
I
what the
had my
difference
own
was?
money, and when I came fully assembled,
Right.
batteries
Right,
included.
right.
Right.
And the difference was that I had time, and everybody needs to take time to process what they came out of. Secondly, not compare it to what they're going into.
Yeah, that part. And
Which is
setting
what I, which is what I absolutely appreciate because I don't feel like I'm competing. And then with our children, I consider them our children, but with our children, it was never an issue of not talking about mom.
Right, right, right. Right.
It's about you are my bonus children. I get to mentor you and be there for you
Yeah.
in a different way. Not in the same way.
That's the key word, different way.
Yeah.
And managing those expectations.
Yeah.
Of what that looks like, because I think it's so easy to transition into, oh, this is supposed to look the same, and then it doesn't look the same. Then you're end up with some type of like, oh, well, okay,
And you know what I love about us?
what?
We never went through that period where we were testing waters.
Yeah,
Right.
Firstly, I have to say thank you. Thank you for your maturity, your love. I think you're smart, you're intelligent. I'm proud of you. I'm not coming in trying to make you something that you're not. I want to know you at that level, support you at that level. So you make it easy. I hear people and the kinds of conflict with the second marriage and the second family. It's crazy.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
we came in, we have the Tomlinson side, the Trim side. Family is a core value for me. You
Yeah.
probably figured that out. It's very important to me. And we decided off the bat, the Tomlinson side does Thanksgiving
yep,
and the Trim side does Christmas. Because family is important, family tradition is important, cousins, uncles, aunties are important.
Yeah.
Just like with Aunt Linda, I went to an event because that's important.
right,
She's not a sister-in-law, she's my sister. Now, listen to this, and this is so weird. My husband got married the second time, and I have a relationship with the second wife and the first wife. So the first wife still shows up. And you don't hear that in
Yeah.
black families.
Yeah.
You know, the first wife, I still have a relationship with her. And the second wife, I still had a relationship. And I know with the second wife, it was kind of difficult at 1st. But the first wife shows up Christmas time.
Yeah.
Because she had children.
Yeah.
So it's this big family. I value
Yeah.
family. Family is everything.
Yeah.
So bringing that to the table,
Yeah.
to the equation, is what I bring as a woman that got married later on in life. I'm able to clarify my core values, pull you into this amazing world that I live in,
Yeah.
as if I birthed you.
Yeah. And it is amazing work.
You know, and Dad and I, live in this amazing world. And to pull you in, knowing that you have us as your
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah. It's a blessing.
And I know you feel comfortable with me. There's nothing fake about us. I genuinely love you. And we have the Trims and the Tomlinsons.
Yeah.
And we're one. And I think that is what a functional family is.
Yeah.
A functional family is not a family that doesn't deal with the hard issues.
Right. Exactly.
And doesn't deal with the hard stuff.
Most definitely.
A functional family is dealing with the hard stuff together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of it was resetting the expectations, like what was versus, okay, now what is.
Yeah.
Let's actually.
That was an easy transition, actually.
Let's actually close on that reset remark right there, because that's where the success comes in.
Yeah.
And as we're closing this segment, I think we have how many minutes we got on this?
20.
But we still have 20.
Oh, shoot. Let me ask another question.
Oh.
Ask it for me, what's the wrong reason to get married?
As a single,
The single person.
mature person.
Okay.
All right. All right. So, all right. So, understanding these differences that we talked about, life after single. What's the wrong reason to get married?
To get rid of the feelings of loneliness.
Void.
Yeah.
Now you know that loneliness is an epidemic now, according to the United States Surgeon General. Is that because folk are afraid of marriage? Is that because people are desperate for marriage? What's the
Society
loneliness
is broken
about?
down.
Yeah.
Society has crumbled. So where we had supportive communities, we don't have that anymore. So now we're virtual. Social media, everything is virtual. So we're responding to avatars. We're created for community, face to face. So I think that's where places of faith come into picture, because you can establish authentic relationships authentic relationships there. Also, friendships, becoming more community minded to get rid of the sense and the feeling of loneliness. But loneliness is an epidemic, like you said. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And we're not communicating like we used to. We're not connecting like we used to. And we want relationships for that connection.
Yeah.
You know, you need a mirror of who you are. I think one of the wrong reasons also is for financial stability. I think in the future you're going to see more communal living. You're going to see more intergenerational kinds of housings and hubs, so that within these compounds, or whatever I'm calling them, you have the common area where the older generation can come and the younger generation can come, and they can work together to settle the loneliness. Just because people are married doesn't mean that they're a married couple.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be a married individual.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
You
is
know?
just a sense of loneliness in
And
that
I know
institution.
and I know a lot of people that are in married relationships, but they're married individuals. And sometimes people say, okay, this is as good as it gets, and they work with that. Or other people hit a hard reset and say, okay, I want to be a married couple. And if they hit that hard reset, then that's where all the sparkle happens.
Yeah.
Where, and then, I think being vulnerable,
Yeah.
where people were open and they were vulnerable, but it backfired because someone had a hidden agenda.
Right.
People are afraid now to engage at that level because there's so many scamming going on, and then you don't know who's who nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
if you date somebody, you almost have to get an FBI report on them.
It's true.
You know who your daddy is, and where you come from, and what you want. Because nowadays people are responding to an avatar.
Yeah.
But if we go back and we do the real work, and if we work on again self love and self development, there are other things that you can do to get rid of loneliness other than marrying someone that you're not going to be happy with,
Yeah.
and you're doing it just for marriage.
Yeah.
You can volunteer. You can go out in the community and volunteer. And I think the church can play a major role in creating communities, especially if the church is functional, creating communities where one generation is administering.
Yeah.
And I call it the gift of presence. And I think what we're really looking for is someone to share our joys, to give perspective, to share or to support us, or be a sounding board in those low points in our lives.
Yeah.
And some people believe that marriage would do that. So
I
one
think-
of the reasons why you don't get married is for finances, to eliminate loneliness, and for someone to make you to feel good
Yeah.
about yourself.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about just being able to share yourself. Much of loneliness is a result of really not being able to do that, whether it's this avatar thing that you mentioned, whether it's people that are possibly not feeling accepted or afraid of rejection. There's so many things that happen where people are lonely because they have no one else to share themselves with. That's why our spiritual walk is so important.
Yeah.
It is.
We practice in the presence of God actually who we are.
Yeah.
And we begin to discover ourselves the more we're in the presence of the one that knows us better than we know ourselves. And so I think the whole idea of being alone is one thing. Being lonely is a totally different situation.
Yeah.
Because, being alone is, it's not, if you're a whole person, you can be alone and be satisfied.
Right.
Because that's single, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're being an individual and integer starts with the same thing. So it means being at one.
Right.
An integer cannot be divided by another number.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you're an integer by integrating the fact that nothing can divide you and make you feel like pull you away from yourself. And the other thing, people get married because of social expectation, cultural pressure,
Yeah.
coming from their family. Why you're not married yet?
Why don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
kids?
yeah.
Why you don't have kids? Because there's a stigma that is
Ridiculous.
attached to someone who has never been married. People
Right.
look at you different,
Yeah.
even on application.
Yeah.
Married, divorced, single.
What's wrong
So
with them?
society even say, okay, if you're single and divorced, you're different from someone that is never been married. So
Yeah.
I think society getting over singlehood, and I had to say to myself honestly, what if are you okay with not being married? And I was okay with it. It was on my bucket list, but I was okay because I lived a full life.
Right.
But then when I thought about, when you age, who you going to be living with? It ain't going to be the Golden Girls. And so the thought of living as a Golden Girl with other spinsters,
Yeah. No.
that turned me off.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, if you're going to be found, make sure you're fondable. And I had reached a point in my life where, okay, I had accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. And I said, okay, now it's time to be married. And you came along. you know. So
I was on a mission.
you were on a mission and
I
you
was
found
James.
me.
I was
Mission
James
possible.
Bond.
Mission possible.
Mission, yeah. I was
But
on
I
a
think,
mission.
we have to extricate our psychology, our minds, from out of social expectations and the pressure that people place upon us. So some people get married because of the pressure and they end up divorced anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then lastly, here's the caveat as we walk away. We're talking about singlehood and marriage and all of that. But no one person has all the answers to your problems.
Right.
You got to develop a
Yes.
variety of
So
healthy
good.
relationships around you. You've got to redefine what an enemy is, what a stranger is. You got to redefine all of those. But the first reset that you have to hit is a reset with the relationship that you have with yourself.
Success circle. Yeah. A success circle. And then, of course, that reset that you talked about with yourself. And if you're going to learn yourself and know yourself,
Yeah.
you constantly have to. You know what? In religious circles, the word repent is actually a reset. Personally, what I must do if I'm growing as an individual, apart from everybody else, I'm growing as an individual. I've got to learn how to constantly repent. And I'm not talking about from doing wrong. I'm not talking about living in
Reset
sin.
your mindset.
Yeah,
Change your
You're
paradigm.
moving in a different direction.
Change your paradigm,
You're
change your
changing your
worldview.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I think help us to come into healthy relationships as a
healthy
single.
person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I say you don't have to, like you said, piggybacking off of what you say, you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
People look at their spouses like you're supposed to fulfill all these things, but we have friendships, we have
Yes.
mentors, we have
Networks.
coaches, we have networks.
Yeah.
And so, if you're not getting one from one area, go to another area.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to come from a spouse or
I love that. I love that. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. And the eggs here is expectation.
yeah.
Don't put all your expectations on this one person because you're going to be disappointed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Spread the love.
Spread it. So another thing I've recognized in this generation, what would you call this generation? Let's say the Xennials or the Gen X and also millennials. They don't seem as interested, men and women, in getting married as much as they used to, baby boomer and beyond those times. So why do you think that is?
One of the reasons is they don't understand the benefits of it. I think you all have heard it said, and I believe it to be true, that marriage extends a life, doesn't shorten a life. So if you are, one of the benefits
Ooh, that's good.
is an
If you're looking for a
extended-
life extension program,
I mean, we have one right here, 21 and
but you know why?
forever.
girl,
You know
Forever
why?
I might have to
Because-
buy you a Prada bag after this.
You know why? Because in marriage there ought to be honor on both ends. So that what is the fourth commandment? Honor your parents. Any time that honor is at work, life is extended.
Man, that is so good.
When honor is at work, you get to extend your personal life. When you practice dishonor, it shortens
shortens your
your life. And a lot of folks
That's good.
Yeah.
miss the principle
That's good.
of honor.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's why marriage is a life extender. We get to honor each
I
other.
need to go ahead
You
and get
can
married.
pour, I can pour honor into my spouse, and my spouse can pour honor into me. And if it's a marriage that's established on principles and like honor, you actually grow, you actually live longer, you actually live healthy, you actually prosper, all because there is this back and forth as far as honor is concerned. So we when we take our vows, honor. Both parties say that, not just the woman.
Yeah.
Both parties say, do you honor And once we make that commitment, it sets life extension in motion.
So you know what? We need to go back to vows
The,
and
the, the original vows.
redefine that. I think people are not getting married because society has lowered its standard
Yeah,
for human experiences as well as human conduct, the
yeah,
conduct
yeah,
that is expected.
yeah,
So because we've lowered a standard, and because now before it was the biggest sin and stain on your reputation if you were a woman cohabiting with a man that you were not married to. And then there was a stigma attached if you were a woman that had a baby. All of those things are relaxed now. And people have questioned traditional core values and traditional institutions. And marriage is an institution, and in an era where our humanity is being redefined, so is the family,
right,
so is relationship. There's
right.
a whole reset on our human interaction, a huge reset. And so now there's no stigma that is attached to a person that decides, okay, I don't want to marry you, but we can live together. There's no stigma attached to that.
Yeah.
There's no stigma attached to, I'm going to have a baby out of wedlock. There's no stigma that is attached to that.
And what?
And now, people have babies as symbols, especially those that are under, say, 20. They want someone to love. So now having a
Yeah.
baby is like having a designer purse.
Exactly.
So I think our values have shifted a whole lot. And I think one of the greatest challenges of the 21st century will be what it means to be human.
Yeah,
That's going to be the greatest.
that's going to be a
Wow.
big question.
And as a result, we will question traditional values that keep us together, that define how or designate or define how we should live together collectively. And you see the new terminologies that are coming out: diversity, equity, and inclusion, because the younger generation is saying we don't want to live in the world like this anymore. We want to live in a world of inclusion and diversity and a celebration of differences.
Right.
And I think it's going to push social science as well as theology
Yeah.
into a position
Yeah.
where we will have to now engage at another level to help people figure out what it means to be human and what it means to live in such a beautiful institution that we call marriage.
Yeah. And there's so many other benefits that we could talk about. We don't have the time, but what we have talked about today, just the singleness of life, being a single individual. If you are a healthy single person, then you're going to be a healthy married person.
Yes, there you go.
And you know what I need to do as we wrap it up? Give you my definition of singleness.
Go ahead.
Singleness is wholeness.
Yeah.
Bam, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Period.
And there's so many ways to step in wholeness. Look, if you guys have enjoyed this, I want you to take time to like and share. And we're going to send out notifications. And this is only the beginning. We are so excited about this great start. Thank you to all of the people working behind the scenes, Nigel, Alicia, others that are just involved in making this a great success. So this has been Relationship Reset. We're going to come back and it's going to be again Relationship Reset. I think you've heard something today whereby you understand the importance of practicing and understanding this principle called reset. It happens across the board. It happens in nature. It happens in life. It happens in the universe itself. Reset is where we continue to grow. We don't stunt our growth, especially in our relationships. So I hope you've enjoyed this. There's so much more to come. Hey, thank you for joining us. And thank you so much, Dr. Cindy Trim Tomlinson.
Thank you for having me. I mean, I don't take this opportunity for granted. I'm married to you. You're the most gorgeous, amazing human being in the world.
Thank you.
That's re-invited around the table. But I want to thank you for allowing me to be in this space, a daddy-daughter duo. We haven't seen this ever. Yeah. And I'm praying that something that I said will contribute to the advancement of your vision and your mission that you had in mind when you invited me here. Thank you.
You are so
You
welcome.
are very welcome. And there's so much more to come. And of course, I've got to have you back. And it's hard for you to escape that invitation, seeing as though you live with me.
Always. Always.
All right, guys. God bless. You guys have a great day.